Let me know when we got like 5.
That's us now. We're on.
Oh, perfect. Nice. Well, greetings, programs. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Dave and I talking about stuff. Huh?
Build, paint, play. We're gonna keep.
100%.
We're gonna start saying that all the time.
Sorry, yeah, my bad.
And yes, the other thing that we need to remember to remembering to do, apart from talking properly, is asking people to subscribe, like, hit the bell, do all those fun things.
Man, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Look.
No. That stuff's okay to do. Okay. That stuff's okay to do.
All right.
We're not going to ask them for super chats or for any donations or anything like that. We just ask them to subscribe and like and all that sort of
That's fair. That's fair. Everybody, please like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I never thought I would utter that statement, but.
Well, you don't have to. You can let me do that. You just need to remind me to do it.
Yeah, divide and conquer. But Dave, that could be you. That could be you. You can handle that stuff.
Excellent.
So how was your week? How did things go for you?
For the rest of last week, it was good. Just quickly, I'm going to say hi, Scott. Hi, Josh. Hi, Jeff. Moving right along.
Nice.
Yes,
those guys are our diehards.
They are indeed, and we appreciate them all.
100%. Excuse me.
Jake's messing around with sounds.
No, I'm good. I was I put on the YouTube in the background.
Yep.
But I had to mute it, so now I can see. Like when we talk about pictures, I can see what we're talking about.
Sure.
Without hearing like delay.
We can do that. That's good. No, the rest of my week was good. It was really hot and it was very humid on the Outer Banks, and surprisingly enough, all of the storms that hit Virginia and Maryland and into Pennsylvania didn't hit here at all. Didn't hit the Outer Banks at all. Not talking about today.
No, like a jet.
Oh,
like
okay.
Definitely not a commercial jet. Some sort of jet just like whipped overhead, super loud.
Nice.
That does not happen a lot here.
Okay. All good. Sorry, Scott's saying is super laggy, like a 2008 video call, or is it just me? I'm not sure.
Is it?
It might be just you.
Yeah, it is super choppy. I'm looking at it now. It's oh yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Just saying the sound is good, so it's weird.
Yeah, it's very like you and I are moving very choppy.
Maybe if we just do that.
Oh yeah, it'll catch up.
That could be our stick. Yeah.
Okay. We can try that.
It is weird. But mainly because I'm back in my house where it's the internet is usually quite good, and none of the rest of the family are home, so nobody else is draining internet from me. So.
Oh. Do we have any tech guys? Does anybody know what we could do to like undo that? Yeah, dude, I'm watching it right now on the YouTube. It's super choppy.
Yeah. Weird. I don't know.
That is really strange.
Sure why.
I wonder if it's like a Discord thing or a...
It might be a Discord thing.
I mean, it says I've got... I mean, it wouldn't matter anyways. It's streaming through you.
Yeah.
So do I look choppy on your screen?
Not on the Discord. On the Discord, you look absolutely fine. But
okay, yeah, on Discord looks okay.
One day we'll have a show where we don't spend the first 5 minutes talking about the technical issues.
Well, there you go. So Josh is saying try reducing your frame rate, Dave.
Where would I find my frame rates?
hey Josh, where would we find the frame rates? Oh, and Greg says that he thinks the internet is just afraid of how powerful we could become.
This is true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah,
hey, Greg.
I can see that.
Thanks for joining us.
It's big hobbies trying to keep us down.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Steady now. Too much hobby. It's coming your way.
Look Let me Google how do we adjust our frame rates. We're doing it live. Let's see.
Oh, if Josh has already done it, he should be able to tell us. I'm all for crowdsourcing.
All right.
You should tell us eventually.
What are you and what are we running this on in?
That's a good question.
Is this Premiere? No, you're not using Premiere.
OBS. Should be in settings. Let me see if I can find that.
Click settings, click video, click common FPS value.
I might have to read it.
Let's see.
It's currently running at 30.
Huh.
So.
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean it is distracting.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, so we'd have to cancel to restart. But yeah, nothing's changed from previous. So yeah.
Well, if people don't mind us being super choppy, I don't know how well that's going to go over, but yeah. I wonder if I'm assuming it's not me because you look okay in my Discord. I look okay in your Discord.
Yeah, it's something in OBS.
Can you? If everybody wants to bear with us, do you want to just reset OBS and see if that does anything? Like the video is like, it literally looks like we're missing like every third and fourth frame.
Yep.
All right, guys, bear with us. We're gonna try to reset this so it looks better.
Yep. Hang on a second.
Oh, he said it could be bitrate.
30. 30 shouldn't be a problem. Next line down from frame rate. Frame rate is the last line. There's nothing else.
Apparently we did not pay for the upgraded Yeah, I got nothing. Do you want to just try resetting it, see if that does anything?
Not really.
I mean, I don't either, but like again, like it is tough to watch. It is super choppy.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are just like listening to us in the background while they're doing stuff, great. But Miles, I did not cheap out on anything.
Nor did I. I got the same microphone that he did.
Yeah, that's right. Only top shelf stuff for Dave and I.
Yeah.
Champagne dreams on a beer budget.
I'm not sure we could even afford beer, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everything's the same as previous. So.
That's super weird.
Hang on. That's audio bit rate.
John, welcome to the group. I'm sorry. I apologize for our video quality. Apparently, it's a bit 1997.
Yep. Yep. There we go. Agreed, Josh, and agreed, Scott. We don't actually have any videos. Well, even though Jake sent me a whole bunch of videos, or at least I think most of them are the same video that came through like 5 or 6 times.
I sent you. So one is like one. The two look the same. One is like I tried it and then I reset it and got a better angle. But there's technically 3 videos. One is I think the BattleTech stuff. One is the new He-Man Eternia game stuff, and then one. Yeah, see, the second one's different. So is the third one. Oh yeah, but you got them a million times. I don't know why that happened. That's a little weird.
Yes. So we won't be looking at any videos. It'll be fine. We'll be good. Yeah. We'll just be talking. So let's do that. We'll just go ahead and talk.
All right, that's fine.
So yes, the rest of my vacation was wonderful. I came home and now I'm doing some fun hobby stuff. But I did spend quite a bit of time doing some layout on the volumes 4, 5, and 6 for the Art of. So super excited about that.
Nice.
Probably in about 2 weeks. I should be about 95% done with Chris Surrey's volume 4, and I hope to be about 50% done with Tommy's, and about the same with Saney's. by the end of the year.
Nice.
So, yeah.
When are we getting our Jim and Kathy Wapple book?
That's a good question. I don't know yet.
We should talk to them at Adepticon.
So, yes, that's me. That's what I've been doing.
Outstanding. So I went to Gencon.
Yay!
Which was fun. It was definitely up from last year. Last year's Gen Con was pretty anemic. I mean, they had one, it was fine, but it definitely seemed kind of like a downturn. Like, there was basically nothing new. It was a lot of people, like, getting caught up on stuff that had gotten delayed because of 2020, and then, you know, stuff that had been kind of teased. Oh, it's Tim. What's up, Tim? But this year was definitely better. There wasn't a ton of like stuff I had never seen before. Like, it wasn't a lot of stuff that was surprising, but there was a lot of stuff that I got to see for the first time.
Right.
Got to see a bunch of our friends. Like, so I saw Tim. Tim and I got to sit down and actually talk face to face for the first time in, I think, forever, unless he and I actually ran into each other at GW, which was possible. Saw Brian Steele, saw, you know, Chris O'Neill and his wife Heather, who run 9th level games. Saw Big Rick, friend of the show. And then I got a photo. I sent a photo to you of me with Jeff and John at the Battlefront booth.
That's in the.
Nice. Oh, awesome.
Yep,
yeah, I mean, I saw so many people, like a lot of GW folks. I saw, like, Jeff Hall.
Yep.
From our GW days. I saw who else was ex GW from back in the day? So I didn't see him, but I was supposed to go out for drinks with Jeff Hall, Stuart Spengler, and John Schaefer.
John Schaefer. Yep.
Yeah. I got sucked into something else, so I wasn't able to get there. But I was like, oh, this will be kind of hilarious. It's a whole bunch of us. And then who else did I see? Oh, so Ronnie Renton was there, but then he bailed. Like, he was there for, like,
I think he was there Thursday, Friday.
Okay, because I didn't see him on Thursday, and I think he messaged he was leaving on Friday, and I was like, all right. I was like, Ronnie, you know, there's like 2 more days of Gen Con, right? Like, it's not over. Like,
yeah.
And then who else? Oh, I saw JP, who's at Battlefront now. He was at GW with us, but, like, I never had any interaction with him. He was running something in Europe, but
yeah, JP's been with Battlefront for 20 years now.
Yeah, but it was super fun. I mean, you got to see Greg Boisbala and his wife Alicia. From now they're at Modiphius.
Yep. So
that was a good time. Yeah, I mean, there's way too many people to mention. Like, I saw so many good folks. Jason Acevedo from Realmsmith. We got to hang out with him one night, and it was a ton of fun though. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Everybody was definitely psyched up. Like, the fans are definitely back in force, and from all reports that I got from different vendors and stuff, it seems like sales were really good this year, and, you know, a lot of booths did really well, which I think a lot of them needed after last year. So, like, that's always good to hear that the community is kind of supporting them and stepping up. So
sure, yeah.
But I'm exhausted. It was it was good, but I was like, is it Monday yet? Can I fly home? Okay, cool.
I guess there's also that there's a fatigue that you'll get because you're not used to hanging out at 4-day cons anymore.
That's true. Yeah, most of them we do. I mean, like, Adepticon's a 4-day con, but Adepticon's like we talked about last time. Adepticon's really chill.
Yeah.
Like, it's much more laid back, and it's considerably smaller. Yep. So it doesn't feel as overwhelming.
Yep. It's only 5,000 instead of 50,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And the weird thing with their attendance, they do kind of the same thing that, like, PAX does. So they do Thursday badges, Friday badges, Saturday badges, Sunday badges, weekend badges, 3-day badges, and 4-day badges. Yep. And then they scan the number of unique attendees. So I know, like, a couple years ago they had, this is like 4 years ago, I think they had 120,000 unique badges.
No. 80,000.
Unique badges?
80,000 unique attendees. Yeah.
Okay.
For the 50th. 50th anniversary.
Oh, that makes sense. It was nuts though. It was super fun. I had a great time. I can't complain. So
yeah, that was huge. It'll be cool to see how many they had this year. Be good to know.
Yeah, I don't know if they've posted it yet, but I can probably reach out to the folks that I know at Gencon and see what they.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I always like to know numbers and stuff like that. I'd be keen on that. But yeah, awesome. So I think we should probably because I know we've got a lot of photos to look at. We should probably jump straight into those. Should we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Do that? Does everybody want to see that? I think so. So first up is
pull it up. I can see that.
Yeah. So first up is One Small Step.
Ooh.
So it's a.
Oh, okay.
What can you tell
so
us about
this is the guys that I think this is from the Academy Games booth.
Okay.
I think. And Kurt, who we know, Kurt used to work for Academy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking to Jeff Hall, and he was like, "Oh, you got to go over and check out the guys at such and such. They had a really cool game." And this just looked really neat. It's a really cool looking game. Like the whole idea is it's like a space race kind of thing. So you've got the whole if you look at the board, you've got the whole like Earth, then there's like the figure 8 thing to like send a mission to the moon, and you try to get there and like land guys on the moon, and then when you're in orbit around Earth, there's like sort of like your capsule pieces,
okay.
And then there's like an orbiter kind of piece.
Yep.
So you have to like get all the pieces and then like get over to the moon. It just looks super cool.
Okay.
I think the space race is like one of the coolest things ever. I do find it absolutely hilarious that, that was basically 50 years ago. We haven't really done a whole lot since then. They're like, yep, space, tick that box, all set.
Sure.
We did it. We've done it. We've done it, folks.
Yep.
Yeah, Josh says it is Academy Games. So
okay, cool.
But yeah, that was really neat. I thought it looked super cool. Like I said, I love the whole concept of the space race. I just thought it was really neat. So
excellent.
I didn't get to play it, but I kind of like read the panels they had out, and I was like, oh, this seems really neat. You can like play different like event cards and stuff.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think the next one is one that you're going to talk about quite a bit. It's BattleTech. So these are photos from the Catalyst games.
Never heard of it.
No. Never heard of BattleTech.
Yeah, that's the man himself right there. The guy with the mask on the top right. That's Randall Bills.
All right.
So Randall Bills is like one of the lead creatives and like lead writers for like BattleTech and Shadowrun, and Leviathans is his baby.
Yep.
And it was super cool to like. I mean, I've talked to him before. He's a super nice guy,
right.
And he is one of us. He is super passionate. Like, and so we got to see all the new boxes. So the top left is the new beginner box. They basically sold out of the initial beginner box. I think the initial one has. I know it's a different cover, and in the initial box there's a Griffin. For anybody who's paying attention at home, I think it's a Griffin and a Wolverine. And the Wolverine comes in the standard box, but the only way you can get the Griffin is if you buy the beginner box.
Oh, okay.
So they updated it. The new box, that is a Vindicator on the cover. So in the box, I believe it comes with a Vindicator and a Shadowhawk, which are two other mechs. The Shadowhawk, I believe, comes in the other box anyways, but the Vindicator doesn't. So they're changing up the mechs a little bit, which is kind of cool. The book to the right, Empire Alone, it's basically just like a narrative campaign book. It like gives you a whole chunk of the lore, and you can play all the missions and stuff. And then that giant Marauder that's like dominating the right-hand side is apparently there's another photo coming up where the whole idea is that they're going to try to do a 28 millimeter scale for the RPG, so that they're normal dudes that are this big.
Yeah.
And that is a scale mech to a 28 mil mech warrior.
Oh, okay. Radio.
Whereas the BattleTech now, like the little guys that are they're all basically the size of like from a Space Marine to a Terminator.
Yep.
And those are mechs, and each one of them is supposed to be between like 28 and they're between 20. It's in scale. They're between like 28 and like 50 feet.
Okay.
So this is to do everything in 25 mil. They're super cool. They were talking about how they want to. They haven't really. Sorry, they haven't really settled on which ones they're going to do or if they're really going to do it. Right now, it's just kind of a theoretical piece. But they had a couple that they had done themselves and had them in the case. So
okay, interesting. I wonder, did they say anything about? Are they just planning on scaling up the designs they have, or do they feel that they're going to need to change them because
I don't
of the
think
detailing?
so. As far as I understand, they're basically just taking their 28 mils and they're just going to upscale them for print practices.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Rightio. The next one is it's one of the BattleTech boxes. I can't quite read it from here, but it's going to come across. You'll know which one.
Oh, that's Hansen's Rough Riders. So
okay.
There are four. There are 4 new lances that are coming, and they're all like pseudo exclusive temporarily. And I don't remember which one's which, but there's, I think. So okay, so for people at home, the second mech from the left, the big chunky guy, is an Atlas. Scott, I see your question. I will answer that in 1 second. So the big chunky guy with the skull head and the big rounded shoulders, that's an Atlas. So he is, theoretically, that's the biggest mech in BattleTech. It's 49 and a half feet tall, and he weighs 100 tons, and it is super gross. That's an alternate sculpt, because there is an Atlas in another box, but most people want to run multiple Atlases, so now you have an alternate sculpt. And then the 2 guys on the right, the weird guys with like the hammerhead looking sort of shape on their head, those are hatchet men. So a hatchet man is a medium mech that carries literally like a combat club that it uses to like chop stuff. So sometimes you can give them jump jets. So what they did was they gave you there's only 4 mechs in the box, but they're showing you that you can either have him on the ground, the guy on the right that's on the black base, or you can have him on the little pile of like, it looks like smoke, but when you paint it, it's the jump jets.
Okay.
It's pretty slick. And then behind the guy on the ground, you can see just the smoke in the background.
All right. Yep.
You can build him either way. You can either build him with jump jets, so it looks like he's jumping, or you can build him on the ground. It's pretty cool. I will probably magnetize mine so I can have them activate their jump jets, but those are really cool. So for Scott's question, so basically what happened, and he's talking about BattleTech versus Robotech. So Robotech theoretically came out first. It was owned by technically several Japanese companies, and then they signed a licensing agreement with a company that's based in the West called, I think it's like Sunrise, or I think it's Sunrise Productions. It's Harmony Gold. Sorry, it's Harmony Gold. So Harmony Gold's contract was for distribution in the West. So they don't own anything. It was just so they could do distribution. And then because of the way that the distribution things worked, and again, this is all in like the 90s, and IP law wasn't really super established for like toys and lines and things like that, particularly overseas things. Harmony Gold started sort of trying to buy up the rights to the IP in English and in European languages. And then BattleTech came out. BattleTech has had a history of lawsuits. Most of them are not their fault. So the first one was originally called Battle Droids. And LucasArts sent them a cease and desist for using the word droids. So then they changed it to BattleTech. The initial artist, this guy, Kevin Luce, who I think is a fantastic artist.
Okay. Just quickly.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Jake. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell the rest of this story.
Now. they hired this guy Luce to do all the illustrations. So he was like, "Oh, no problem. What do you want me to do?" And they're like, "We want you to draw a bunch of robots." So he drew all of his favorite robots, which were all of the BattleTech, all the Robotech robots. And then there's a Japanese cartoon called Dougram. And the iconic robot from that series is a robot called Bigfoot. And they all have these like big, chunky, like robot legs. But they all, it's very obvious which ones are which. So he drew all of those. And then he made up a bunch. But like to Scott's point, if you're a Robotech fan, you're like, oh, that's from Robotech. Like, you recognize them. So they got sued off and on, and then they kept arguing over who owned the rights and whatever. So to his question, all of the new ones, because of the video games, the video game company, I forget the name of it, they re-sculpted them all so you could have them in the game. And they changed them enough that they are a different robot. They're very similar looking. They have the same silhouette. They have the same feel, but they like changed little things. Like they changed the way the knee looks, and they changed the foot design, and they changed enough that it's a different thing. So if they get taken to court, they can go, well, look, as you can see here, this is whatever percentage has to be legally different.
I think it's 15.
Okay, yeah. So
15%.
So they did a great job. So to Scott's point, you will absolutely be able to get a Warhammer that's very similar. If you want an actual Warhammer that is unchanged, I recommend that you buy a box of the Robotech mechs, and they are literally the Robotech mechs, but they're the right scale, so you can use those. So anyways, back to this photo.
Back to I've moved along. I've moved us along to the next one, the Kell Hounds.
So Kell Hounds is another one. So the guy on the right, same thing. It's a Crusader. You can either have him with the jump pack effect or without the jump pack effect. Then you get like 3 other smaller mechs. I think that looks like a Kell Hound, a Wolfhound, and I can't see what that is. I think that's a Griffin, and then the one on the left I think is a Trebuchet.
No.
I
gotta say, everybody, I am super surprised. At no point has Jake ever mentioned his passion for BattleTech to me. So this is all coming out of left field for me.
Anything with robots. I love robots.
Excellent. That's huge.
And yeah, once we do all 4 of these, I'll explain the launch thing, because I'm sure there's fans that are going to want these. So
I didn't put all 4 up.
Oh, okay, Dave.
Yeah. Well, two of them were out of focus.
Scott, I apologize.
2 of them were out of focus. So
Scott, I apologize.
I didn't realize we were going to get a rundown of the history of BattleTech and then the release schedule for all.
So basically, with the 4 different boxes, they're doing a lot of. As a fan, I don't really like this. So they're doing 4 exclusives. So they did one last year called the Wolf's Dragoons box, Wolf's Dragoons Heavy Lance, and that was a Barnes & Noble exclusive. So you could so even I couldn't get it in my shop. It's just a Barnes & Noble exclusive. And I think they had like a 6-month exclusivity clause. So now I can start getting it. But for the first 6 months, I couldn't. So the 4 new boxes, there's a Kell Hounds box, there's a Hansen's Rough Rider box, there's a...
Dudes with tartan.
Huh?
There was like a tartan box. A plaid
No,
box.
that's the Northwind Highlanders box, I think.
Okay.
And then there's a the other one. Eridani Light Horse.
Okay.
So I don't remember which one's which, but one of them is going to be a Barnes & Noble exclusive again. One of them is an ACD exclusive. One of them is an Alliance exclusive. And then one is a Catalyst web store exclusive.
Okay.
And then after whatever it is, 120 days, 6 months, whatever, then everybody will be able to get them. I think it's just like a lot of people like the exclusivity thing. Like I get it. Like as a fan, you're like, oh, Dave, like let's go to Barnes & Noble today so I can buy that box. And then it's like, oh, let's go to the Catalyst web store. Like I kind of I get it, but yeah, as both a retailer and a fan, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to like drive to 3 different stores or wait 6 months. But the new models are great, and every box comes with one guy that you can swap out and make like jump capable kind of thing, which I think is pretty neat. Like they do look really cool.
Yep. Cool thing. Okay.
Nice.
Next up is something about it, like a pretty buff guy with a bob haircut.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yeah, so these models are great. This is the new Simon. I think it's called Battle for Eternia.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's the new Simon Minis game. They look dope. Like the models are super sick. So like on the left, you've got like Skeletor with like the giant monster hands, and then there's like a Battle Cat in the background there. Oh no, sorry, Battle Cat's on the right, and then on the left you've got Panther, which is the giant purple panther thing. The Castle Grayskull looks amazing. I don't know if that's in the box. I'm hoping that it is, and it's not just some cool piece of terrain that they threw together for the display. Because they didn't actually have like the box. This was just like in a display case.
I'm sure it's in the starter set.
Yeah, I'm hoping. But the models are great. Like they're really, really cool. There's kind of a funny story about this game. So they're doing this game through licensing, obviously. Yep. Apparently, there is a weird snag or issue where in Europe, CMON does not have the rights to this in Europe. There's another company making this game, and instead of CMON doing the minis through Big Child Creative, it's another company, and then they're doing it through Archon Studios, and it's the same scale. It's a slightly different game, but all the sculpts are different.
Right.
And I was like, that is the weirdest thing ever.
That is crazy. That's some people just not having good conversations.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it's super strange.
Yep.
So yes.
This is the only photo that I'm putting up of this one, because you and I need to talk about focus, getting things in focus.
Scott, if you want me to, I will. Scott is betting me $5 that I can't spend 10 minutes talking about the legal backstory of He-Man.
You can, but I'm not going to let you do it on this stream.
Fine. All right. Fine.
There we go. Yes, there is some legal stuff.
There is. Most of it's pretty mild. A lot of it's the whole Hasbro,
Yep.
Hasbro being angry stepdad, like kind of licensing nonsense. Then it was toys versus the comics and whatever. All right, what do we got? What's next? I will say for this game, again, I didn't see any gameplay. The models look great, and if you are a He-Man fan, you should 100% pick them up. And Scott, you better paint all of them, because they look dynamite.
Yep.
The sorceress right in front of Grayskull, she is a super cool looking fig.
Yeah, they do look awesome for sure. Okay, next up we have.
Sorry, my phone doesn't take better photos, but.
Well, your
Grayskull looks cool. I mean, Grayskull looks dope.
Your phone can take fantastic photos, and you can help it take fantastic photos, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, this one came out really good.
Speaking of fantastic photos, yeah. So this is just a different angle from that the shot that we used in the Facebook page today. So this is at the Infinity booth, and all these buildings are by Warsenal. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I got to talk to John. Friend of the show, which was really fun. I got to meet him face to face and hang out with him. And I think he and I both were like, I think I've met you before, but we haven't really got to hang out and talk. So we got to chill, and he walked me through all this. He agreed with a lot of the stuff that we talked about. For the longest time, 3D printed or not 3D printed, MDF cut terrain has a very specific look. It is essentially a cardboard box. And it's essentially a cardboard box that you snap together, and it looks like a square, and then you paint it however you want if you paint it, or it's a brown, it's a sad brown building on your table. The whole reason I took the shot from this angle is that rounded building on the bottom left.
Yep. Is
super cool, really impressive. It's really seamless looking, and that's technically two buildings. Right where the roof splits down the middle, you can push that apart, and it's two separate buildings. So if you want to have an alley, or if you just want to buy one, but it's really, really cool. And there's a little yellow fire hydrant on the bottom left corner of it.
Yep.
That you also put together and stuff. And then the gray building across that's behind it.
Yep. Each
one of those little you see the bank, it looks like the bank of it looks like two Lego blocks on the roof.
Right. Yep.
Those are literally rooftop fans. And they all kind of each one of them kind of sets in, so it gives it a lot of really cool three-dimensionality. And then there's the blue sort of generator tower across from it. And then there's all the street signs, and all of the buildings you can lift off the roof, and then you can lift off the whole floor, so the whole building is usable, which is really neat.
Yeah.
the building on the right, the one with the sloped tower. So you can take off that, and then there's like a staircase inside, and then the far building, it has that giant fan, and it has more of those like crates on top, and those two rectangles that are on the front of the red building on the roof of it. Those are actual like, I'm assuming it's acrylic. Those are acrylic skylights, so you can actually see into the. I was like, man, John did an awesome job. Like they look really, really good, and his stuff has caused me to change my mind about MDF terrain. It is amazing.
I thought that might have been the case. We've got some other shots. So there are almost as many photos of Jay's terrain as there were of the BattleTech stuff. So I think that was super cool. But there's so that's the grey building. Is this this is the one that's behind the rounded buildings in that previous shot, right?
That's the one I was talking about. So like the Lego looking things on top, those are like the condenser fans, and then the thing to the right, I guess, is like a water tower, I'm assuming. And then this is a different building, but the one on the right, you can see those skylights, and that whole thing, they all lift out, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But like down the bottom too, like like you've got like the street signs, like on the bottom right hand corner, that little gray block sticking out is actually like a crosswalk sign. Right. It's impressive. It's done really well. And the pre-painted stuff we talked about last time.
Yep.
On this whole table, when it was all set up, one of the buildings on the table was pre-painted.
Okay.
And the rest were all done by one of their pro painters on staff. And they were asking people if they could guess. And I asked them what the rates were like. And John said that people were like 6 out of 22 got it right.
Right.
He's like, and the guy who does our tables is a pro painter. He's like, they look awesome. They are super, super cool.
Yeah. The I know that I spoke to Jay about this probably 4 or 5 years ago at Gencon. I said, "And your tables are awesome. The way that you paint your buildings is spectacular. You were going to do like some tutorials on it." And he's like,
yeah.
Well, probably not. We use a lot of masks, and it's like, okay, so you mask off a lot of areas, and it's like, well, he like lays down a sheet on it has like a sticky sheet on top of it.
Yeah.
And etches when he does the etching for the actual piece, and then he can peel off at different pieces as required. So it's like, okay. But no, they do a brilliant job. It is spectacular. It's fantastic looking scenery. I love
it. Scott is clamoring for a spin-off where I just talk about the legal quagmire of 80s intellectual property.
Yeah.
For two, and it'll just be the two of us.
Yeah. Dinner for two. Next up,
cool.
Next up, we've got an interior of one of the one of his buildings.
Oh yeah, he had like a blue. Yeah. So that's all. At the moment, that's all painted to look like that. But he's like, they're gonna make this set pre-painted.
Okay. Yep. This whole blue set that we're about to see.
Yeah. Right. It's crazy. Like this whole set looks like a bunch of like drop container buildings. Basically, it looks like the whole thing was like dropped in from orbit. Really, really neat. The piece that he's holding in particular is crazy because it's almost like a mushroom. So like the base is that big, and then the cover, which is where all the engine mounts are, is like way bigger, and it like overhangs the whole thing. But yeah, he pulled it off.
Yep, here we go. I've got a shot of that.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is the roof of it.
If it's like a giant blue sort of like rounded up, yeah. That's the thing with the roof on. And yeah, it's and he said you can also when you take off the roof, you can lift out the garage door that's there, the big black garage door. You can actually lift that out, so like it's like retracted, so you can like go in and stuff. And there's all these little compartments on the side. Like again, I don't know what sort of weird OCD offshoot he has, but he is crushing it. Like
yeah.
it is so meticulously designed.
Yep. Okay, and here's the.
Yeah, they had a whole table that was like that too. It was like
That's the one I'm showing now.
Okay, yeah. I think it's like 4. I think it's like 4 or 5 buildings. But that was neat. It looked really, really good. Yeah, these are awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, like
this is Yeah.
Like off to the right, like that rounded one.
Yeah.
That's the roof for the one on the right. So it like covers it up. It does a really good job, and I also think that it's really smart the way that they've made it so it's fully playable. So if you have the roofs on, even though there's like slanted pieces, there's still parts where you can like balance minis and put stuff. And then when the roofs are off, the guys can go inside. Like the building to the right, the big sort of like treasure chest looking one.
Yep.
So you see the stairs going down.
Right. Yep.
So he was saying you can lift out those doors so guys actually come in there. And then this is for Infinity, obviously.
Yep.
And he was saying that Infinity, like, cover is really important. So guys can be, like, down on the stairs. So, like, the top step is up near their chest. So they gain, like, cover from being in the stairwell.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, those are cool. Again, it looked really nice.
Yep. I think it's one of those things with a game like Infinity where, as you say, cover is so important and interaction with terrain is so important that that's where terrain that you can interact with and move around and use is super important. And Jay's killing it for sure. So that's all fun stuff from Warsenal we've got coming up. Okay, next one. We've got a whole bunch of minis in this one, but it's actually a board game. It looks like a reskin of an old game. So by the name of Risk.
I love Risk. Like Risk is a super fun game. So this is the new Risk Shadow Forces, and I think there's going to be like 2 different versions of Risk. But yeah, I just thought this looked super cool. Like the Avalon Hill sort of setup was pretty slick. They had a lot of really nice stuff. They were showing off like the new Hero Quest, which is great. They were showing off. They had something else. It was like Risk. They had something else that was new. I can't remember. But they were super nice. Like again, like I think that the big thing with Risk is sort of a lot of people's first kind of foray into what I would call like the more like aggressive like tactical games. Like before you play Risk and Stratego or anything like that, like you're playing what I call like the trash like toy aisle board games from like a Toys R Us or something, right? So it's like Chutes and Ladders and Candyland and Trivial Pursuit and Monopoly and the Game of Life. Like none of those are like there's nothing wrong with them.
And my favorite Canadian game, Sorry.
Oh God, yeah, Sorry. Boggle, Trouble, like those are fine, but like this was the first game that I remember having like pieces.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like not like, oh, I have to move this shoe around the Monopoly board. It was the first thing that I was like, oh, there's like these are my guys and those are your guys, and it had like tactical deployment like on its ultimate rudimentary level. Scott apparently Risk stinks next. Josh is right. Risk is a gateway drug. It's like, hey kids, do you want to try these cigarettes for free? But I also think this looks a lot cooler than the Risk that we had, because the Risk that I had, an army was a little 3-prong blob, and then the 5 army was like it looked like a 3-dimensional asterisk.
Right.
Like these actually have minis in them, and you also have like in the front of the picture, like you see the gray ones by the cards.
Right.
So those are like your commanders. So like they do a different ability and like they can have like objectives and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So it isn't technically just Risk. It is like a slightly different game. But it's kind of cool.
Yep. Cool.
Wow. Scott says, ouch, Canadian jokes. I'd rather spend 13 hours making my family hate me playing Monopoly than play Risk ever again. Okay. I would take Risk over Monopoly 100 out of 100 times.
Me too.
There is nothing that can get me to play Monopoly. Nothing.
Okay, moving right along.
Yeah.
Now we've got the old wolf, Milton Bradley's dogfight. There we go. We'll have to go track that one down. But amazing you should jump in there, Jeff, because here we have the photo of...
he was they both like John is being his usual goofy self, and Jeff just looks really surprised.
Just being his usual stoic self.
Yeah, sure. That's what we'll call it. That was super fun. It was great seeing the guys and being able to hang out and talk. And I mean, I haven't seen John Matthews since, I guess, Adepticon.
Okay.
So it was good seeing him.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great seeing Jeff too. I haven't seen him in a while. Like I don't think he was at Adepticon, or if he was, I didn't see him at the booth.
No.
Yeah. So
no, that's cool.
That was a good time. It was definitely a good time. But yeah, their booth looked great. Like their booth's always super cool. They have their like custom made like gray rollaway cabinets, which basically just like he was running around like a good little drone, like stalking the booth. Like that's basically what he was doing. So, but it's really cool. Like they can basically slap the covers on them, make sure everything is solid, and then roll everything out, which is awesome. I appreciate ease of use. I'm sure that everybody else does as well.
Yep, it's definitely good to do it that way.
But they have like the new. They had the new Dune Arrakis game, which looked really cool. It kind of looks like it's like a resource management game, but like you just play as Fremen. So there's like 4 sort of like sieges, and then each siege is kind of like vying for like resources and like sort of like take care of themselves in like the limited resource area that is Arrakis. So that looked really cool. And then what was the other? Oh, they had the new Star Trek Ascendancy stuff.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you played Ascendancy is like one of my favorite board games. It is so good. But so the 2 new expansions that are supposed to come out in a couple weeks, they had there as pre-release for people at Gencon.
Sure.
So one is like the Dominion War, which I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, but it adds like the Dominion. And then they have the Breen Confederacy or the Breen. Jeff, help me out. Is it the Breen Confederacy? Or the Breen, it's the Breen something. I don't know what the hell they call it.
Just said the Breen expansion.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So the other one's the Breen. So the Dominion War one is like a big, like, it's sort of an adventure. Like somebody basically plays them and they're playing against like the table. And then the Breen is just another like single player expansion. So,
yep.
But that stuff looked great. They were like, they literally couldn't keep it. Yeah, it's the Breen Confederacy.
Excellent. Well, the next thing we've got is Agents of Mayhem.
Okay, I thought that looked really cool.
Is that also Academy Games?
Yeah, this is also Academy Games. So that one is sort of like I feel like they're trying to make a push into the mini wargaming kind of sector.
Okay.
You know, like it has kind of like a CMON-ish kind of like, hey, we've got cool minis in our game. It looked pretty cool. It's one of those things where like if I'm going to play a skirmish game like that, I think I'd personally rather just play Kill Team or like Necromunda, or if I wanted to play a board game, I'd probably do something like I'd probably do like one of the Steamforged games.
Right.
If I want to do like a mini board game with sick minis. But it definitely looked cool. The one on the right is the one that Jeff Hall was telling me about, so I went over to check it.
Okay.
So it's called Reality Shift. Again, they both looked really cool, but the one on the right. So I don't even know how to explain this. So there's the little red blip on the middle. It's like the second cube over from the left.
Yep.
And then on top of that if you go to the right of that, there's a little blue blip and a little yellow blip.
Yep.
And then in front of them, there's a little white blip.
Right.
So those are like little like
blips,
gravity jet bikes, basically.
Okay.
And the little delineations on the box are the road. Okay. So you have to stay on the road, and then you can roll. You can on your turn you can move blocks around, like you can roll them.
Okay.
It's 3-dimensional, so you can race like up and around the blocks. But when your opponent moves the blocks, they can like crush your bike.
Okay, so it's like a Tron thing.
Yeah, very much so, but it's like 3-dimensional.
Okay. Oh, don't die.
No, I went down the wrong pipe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it was really cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that it's a movable modular board and then all the blocks kind of like roll over onto one another, so like they can like snap over and change. You can change their alignment and change their direction and stuff.
Right.
And then there's like teleport spots. Like I think, or there's ways you can move around too. But I just thought it was really neat. I was like, that's a really cool way to kind of make a game. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of Tron meets Tetris.
Yeah, I'll have to have a game with that at games and stuff when Jeff gets it in.
Yeah, like I said, it looked. That was one of the ones that he was like, "Hey, did you check that out?" And I was like, "I haven't." He's like, "You should go over." And he's right. It looks really cool. Like they have this set out so you could like play with it, kind of move pieces around, and kind of see how it worked. But it looks really neat.
Excellent. Do that. Next up, we've got the Elder Scrolls table.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I heard that they got this guy to like do it for him.
Yeah, some dude.
What's up, Chris?
Yeah, hey, Chris.
Scott, I wish you lived closer so we could play board games, because like all the games that you want to play, like Twilight Imperium, yeah, 100% yes. Gale Force 9 Aliens, yeah, it's a great game.
Yep. But yeah, you were saying that folks were pretty happy with it.
Dude, the table looked amazing. Like people couldn't get over it. Like people couldn't believe how good it looks. And even the photos that we used on an episode, last week or the week before?
Last week.
Even the photos you used didn't do it justice. Like this table looks phenomenal. Like it is insane. The only thing that threw me, and I was giving him a hard time, Brian painted the minis.
Yeah.
And Greg didn't tell him how to to base them.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, you just want them done regular?" And Greg was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right." I'm like, because as soon as he showed up with them, I was like, "Dude, why didn't you base them with snow bases?" He's like, "I had no idea." So I was like, "Just go over to the Gale Force 9 booth, or go over to the Games Workshop booth, and just get a thing of snow and just put it on the bases."
Yeah, can I do a little pot of Valhalla and Blizzard?
Absolutely, just dust some of there on there.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, the tables look nuts, and each one of those green circles is a 28 mil guy, so that should show you how big that table is.
Yeah.
And it has some serious verticality because of the way that he built it.
Yeah.
You know about the forklift mishap, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep. So
this table escaped. This table escaped damage. So apparently a tine on the forklift like punched through the lid, but it went through on like this side, so it didn't touch anything.
Right.
The Fallout board did not fare as well.
Yes. But yeah, that was a different story, but I think let's transition to that. I think Greg did a good job of getting it back together.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it looked really good, and nobody knew. And if he hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known.
Right.
And this table looks lights out. This table looks incredible. The big giant broken down like space Winnebago that's on the left.
Yep.
Dave was showing me how he made that. It's basically two of them put together with a tarp over it. Super cool. The vehicle kits themselves are great, but like the busted up uneven like asphalt is super cool.
Yep.
Visually, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But from a work standpoint, like you did a great job, because that like just doing that is a whole other level of like intense work that I was like, I don't want to do that.
That was interesting. That was an interesting process going through and doing that busted up.
It's very stable. It doesn't feel like it's thrown together. But I know from building tables that I was like, that was a nightmare. Like I'm all set.
That's got a lot of lumps of liquid nails underneath it. For sure. But it was definitely a lot of fun to do that. It was a lot of fun doing the Nuka World sign as well.
That was awesome because you did it with. Did you use Sculpey to make the words?
No. I just used I used thicker than this, but just plastic tubing.
Would you melt it so you could bend it?
Yep. Got a little had a little tea light going. Tea light cable.
Oh, okay.
And but because I was working that off a picture from the internet's. It's not a continuous loop of like neon tubing.
Oh right, yeah, because some of them are broken, some of the letters are missing.
Yeah. So it was easier, it was easy to, well, not easy, but wasn't as tough as it could have been trying to write a whole thing.
Again, man, the table's awesome. Like all day, people were like, "Oh man, these tables look so good," and I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, all the best tables here were done by Dave. Like 100% of the good tables were done by Dave.
No, that one we showed earlier, the two that we showed earlier from Jay. Right,
awesome. but he built the terrain. Like you built the tables.
Yeah, he built the table too.
I think even Jay will agree that as far as the tables go, your tables are insane. Like,
I don't know, but moving along, back to Catalyst games.
I gotta tell you, so on the top left, that bent the bent streetlight.
Oh yeah.
Some little kid broke it.
Oh jeez. Oh,
and we were talking to him, and I was like, "What happened?" And Greg's like, "Yeah, I was doing a demo, and some little kid, some kid who was like 6, like came up and picked up the rule book, and like his dad was like, 'We gotta go,' and he like dropped it on the table, and it like crushed one of the lampposts."
Right.
So Dave, like Greg found it and like put it back together, but I was like, man. But apparently that table got thrashed. Like that table had like 3 different pieces broken, and Greg like put it back together before the show because I had no idea it was damaged.
Yeah.
So he did a good job with it.
I'll find a picture and send it to you.
It being like a broken and destroyed like atomic wasteland, it was probably easier to make it like cover it up. But
cover it up for sure. For sure.
Yeah. But so this game, Leviathans, for people who don't know, Leviathans is essentially flying World War I battleships.
Yep.
Is the best way I can describe it. It is phenomenal.
Yep.
Josh, take it easy.
What's that?
Josh is taking off. I said, take it easy.
Oh, bye, Josh. Yeah, when Catalyst originally sort of started showing this, like 10 years ago, I was like, oh, that's super cool. Hey, if you need anybody to paint any of those, send it my way. And Randall was like, oh yeah, sure, okay. And then nothing. So the reason that they did that was because they all came pre-painted out of the box. Oh, they do now, or
the original ones?
All right. Well, I was asking about it before that happened, before it was released, when they were just showing.
I think that they.
But at no point did he say to me, "Oh, they already come painted."
I don't think they had probably figured that out at that point.
Probably not.
But when it came out, everything comes pre-painted.
Okay.
So what's up, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
I'd like to thank the Academy and my wife and of course I couldn't do it without Greg. I give Greg a lot of credit for basically most of the good stuff that happened at Gencon. But
Greg taught you everything you know, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I heard.
Greg taught me things I don't even know.
This is true.
That's how good he is.
Things you've already forgotten.
Yeah, that's so Leviathan. So
Leviathan. Yep.
It came out. I want to say was it 2008 the first time?
No. It was like 2013. 2013.
The first time?
Yep.
Okay, so this whole game has a whole other like crazy story. Like, so the reason it hasn't been around basically since that original launch, like they didn't have a restock. They had a launch and then it was basically gone.
Yep.
The models are super detailed. They all come pre-assembled and pre-painted, and you can like turn the turrets on them and like change the fins and like so they're posable sort of.
Yep.
They had all been done by doing like master molds with a company in China, and after the Chinese company did the first production run, they found another production house they were going to go with, and they were like, okay, so we'd like to get those molds, and the company was like, well, those are ours. And Catalyst was like, no, we paid you to make those. That's proprietary. You can't do anything with that. And the Chinese company was like, well, right, but they belong to us.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the money to get all new masters made.
Sure.
So the game just kind of ground to a halt. My store actually had 3 copies of the original Leviathans that I found at a store that was going out of business.
Right.
And they wanted me to buy all of their product. And I was like, oh, those are probably just display boxes. And the owner's like, no, one's open because we opened it to do a demo game, but all the pieces are in it, and the other two are factory sealed. So I was like, yeah, we'll take all of those. And then Adam Pratt immediately bought one.
Yep.
He bought the open copy, and then we sold one to a customer. And then the other one I have at the shop, we've never listed it online, which is probably the only reason I still have it.
Yep.
And you can still get the British fleet and the French fleet, which are basically expansions for that game.
Right.
But the reason I bring that up is I asked Randall about the new one. I said, can you use all the existing stuff with the new one, the Great War?
Yep.
And he said, yep, everything's 100% compatible. He's like, there might be some issues with some of the cards, but I think they're going to do like an X-Wing or whatever, where they're going to release like just a card pack that will just update all the ships.
Yeah.
But everything is usable, everything is compatible.
Right.
So
cool.
But this game looks great. I was like, who doesn't love flying battleships like slugging it out?
Yeah. No, exactly. That's cool. Just quickly, we'll have a look at my other 4 tables.
Oh god, dude, they looked incredible.
The one thing that was super funny is like you took this photo, and I think I got a shot from Caleb Wissenbach as well. Sent me a photo.
Is it the same photo
of it? No, similar. But and somebody commented. Oh, he might have posted something on Facebook, and somebody commented on it and said, "Oh, the landing pad, the color on that landing pad looks killer." I think in this shot, it's like way over in the back corner. Of the thing, and it's built into the table. And I used this awesome Krylon spray paint called Peacock Blue that I got found through a friend of mine, Tim. Not Tim Toolin, but another Tim. But I painted up a whole bunch of the Narkman Fronteras terrain.
Oh yeah, I saw all the blue stuff.
Yeah, the bunkers and the stockades and that kind of thing. And when they set it up, and it's like, oh, they didn't put any of that out. That's odd. And so I said to Caleb, I wonder why they didn't do that. And the next day he sent me a photo of it, and it was all out in kind of odd positions. But that was weird because I was while I was away, I was listening to the first Heretic book by Aaron Dembski Dowden, and right at the end he's talking about the drop site massacre, and it talks about how they like the Iron Warriors dropped in all these prefab buildings, and like stacked them on top of each other to build this massive fortress that was sort of at the opposite end of the valley to the Trader Fortress there.
Right.
So it was like, oh yeah, so all those pieces would work really well for that.
He's definitely right. So I think I took this photo on Thursday, and then you're absolutely right. When I went back on Friday, along the whole left side, and basically like behind the Warhound that's there was like one little blue building there, and then there was like in that dead space between like the 2 purple Land Raiders and like the far corner, or the mid spot, there was 2 little blue buildings there, and then there was another one in the back, and then one kind of in the front left corner, which is kind of off camera. But it looks way better with that terrain, because otherwise you're like, oh, it's just like a gray table with a bunch of dudes fighting on it. The wall, you did an awesome job on the wall. The wall section itself is super cool. It's definitely one of those things where I was like, man, I'd like that wall to just go across that, have it be a curtain wall across the whole back end of the table. But I'm assuming that they didn't want that because they want it to be obviously modular and travel and be able to take it apart.
Yeah. If you build that sort of thing in, you're adding.
Yeah, right.
You'd add like 2 feet of height to that crate, which was tall enough as it was.
It was super cool. I mean, the minis on the table are painted pretty well. Like, so on the left-hand side, there's Ferrus Manus and a small detachment of... Yeah, Greg, a gray table with a bunch of dudes fighting on it sums up 40K. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
It does,
for
sure.
Unless you fight on a volcanic table, which I do sometimes.
That's a dark gray.
Yeah, but so on the left-hand side, you've got Ferrus Manus with a small detachment of Iron Hands, and they had Ferrus and Fulgrim kind of squaring off as it should be. And then you've got like that whole swath of like purple Emperor's Children, and then kind of on the right hand side you've got Vulcan and a double handful of salamanders, and then you've got the 2 Iron Warriors, Land Raiders. Those are Spartan assault tanks opposite it, with a bunch of them, and then there's the Traitor Warhound that's like helping them out.
Yep.
Which technically would not be there at this point, but I'll allow it.
What do you mean?
Like, it was all chaosed out. Like, it had like chaos runes all over it. I'm like, at this point, that's not a thing. They're just fighting for day.
I don't know. Depends on who.
I guess. Like I said, I'll allow it.
There's a lot more that has been going on in the background than is visible here.
I'll allow
it. Yeah. Cool. Moving along. Oh, there's this. There was another table you took a photo of. It's a brown sort of trench table, very stylized. Has some.
This is for this is that game that Adam Pratt painted the original models for the creator when it was with Simon.
Oh, is it Rivet War?
Yeah, Rivet Wars. Yeah, Rivet Wars.
Okay.
So it was super cool. Somebody flipped around the digger, so in the far wall where there's that like crater and the thing sticking out of it, on the other end of it has this giant drill. It looks like a termite.
Yeah.
Right? So somebody had it going in, and then when I came back the next day, they turned it around so it's coming out.
Right.
But it looks super cool. It's all these like chunky, chibi, like figures to play like a pseudo World War I game. So the guys on the left are all like the, Prussian and all those different that's them on the left. Yeah, and then those are some of the Allied guys on the right. So there's the tunneler in the background, and then like there's one of the sort of like treaded tank things on the right, the big blue looking R2D2 thing. Yeah. But yeah, the models are super cute. Like but it's also a really fun game. It's like really well designed. But yeah, the whole Pratt tie-in was when this guy was just like in the process of designing it, he got like prototypes made, and Adam said they're really nice. So I'm thinking that either they're the originals or they're the first batch from Simon, and he sent them to Adam. Right. But the game wasn't out. So Adam got them and was like, "These are super cool. What is this?" And the guy was like, "Oh, it's for a game I'm making." So Adam thought he meant it's for a game that he's like literally making himself to play with his friends, not a game that's actually going to come out in stores.
Right.
So, I mean, he paid Adam's rates, and Adam painted them up, and they look great. And then he sent them back to him, was really careful. And the guy was like, "Oh, please be careful. It's my only set," and all this. And Adam's like, "Yeah, no problem." They sent him back to him. And then the guy used Adam's set for photos, and it's his set, like the owner's set. It's his. So when the game came out in stores, Adam was like, "Oh, those look really familiar." So apparently Adam has a credit in the rulebook for painting the minis.
Yeah, excellent. That's cool.
I was like, that's pretty funny.
That is neat.
Classic Adam Pratt. He just didn't ask enough questions, but
yeah. Nice.
But this whole table looked really cool, and so now Steamforged has it. They're going to re-release it again, and
Steamforged has it.
Yeah, this was the Steamforged booth.
Okay, radio. Cool thing. The next one I have is it's the I'm guessing the upcoming Inuit release from Mythic Americas.
Oh yeah, they looked awesome. Yeah, they're super cool. So you've got like the Inuit sort of like tribesmen up the front. There's like archers and guys with spears, and then in the far back right, you've got like the what do you call it? Like tundra, like Arctic ox.
Right.
And then the big dudes with the antlers in the middle, the brownish guys.
Yep.
They're these huge think like werewolf people, but they're moose people.
Right.
And they have these sort of vertical like mouths that like open up all the way down their chest, and I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like the polar bears, and then there's the polar bear chariot, and then in the back left, I forget what he's called, but it's like this giant winter like iced up Arctic wolf thing. Right. And he is big. Like he's on like a I don't even know what size base that is, but it's a huge circle.
Right.
But yeah, they look amazing. I was talking to Nelson about this, and apparently when they started creating the game, there was no shooting, and there was no chariots, because they were like, yeah, we're just not gonna do that. It's too hard. So like you have guys that can like throw like javelins and spears and stuff, or like throw axes and stuff, but there's no like ranged combat. And then this army came out, and they were like, yeah, so forget all those rules. So like they have chariots, and the chariot guy has this like ranged weapon attack, and then there's clearly like archers and stuff. Like I was like, all right, like that's kind of funny. So like they changed like the way that like shooting and distance works for this army, and they added chariots for this army.
Right.
But
nice.
Super cool. Super cool.
Fabrice says Muskaroo.
I know that's not what they're called, but they are crazy. They are sort of like that. They are definitely like super creepy looking minis. They look awesome.
And Chris, I don't know if they are. I don't know if it is Wendigo. That would be Wendigo.
I think they're Wendigo.
I think no, they already have a Wendigo. For one
the Wendigo is in the.
One of the other forces.
I think the Wendigo is in the. The Wendigo is in the. Is it the Tribal Nations? I think it's in the Tribal Nations.
Not in the Tribal Nations
faction.
Yeah.
I think so.
And Scott says, I see the Inuit are based in the typical summertime Canadian basing scheme.
Yep, nailed it.
Yep, indeed. Right, it's winter basing scheme is the same, just 20 feet deep.
It's just a cylinder of snow on the base.
Exactly.
Yeah, like all of their stuff looks great. Like Nelson and his son, I got to meet him and hang out, and like his whole team, like they're super good dudes. Like they really have their stuff together. And the game had a lot of like really positive sort of like feedback, and people seemed like they were really super stoked about it. I think right now I think they're the 5th faction or they're the 6th faction.
Okay.
So there's Tribal Nations, Aztec, Incas. I think there's the Mayans, and now you've got the Inuit.
Okay.
And then I think next is going to be the Western Great Plains, or Western. It's basically like the Sioux Nation essentially. Okay. And then I think there's one more or 2 more. I think there's going to be 8 total.
Okay.
But they all look cool. Every faction is super unique. They all have like, for the most part, you all have like, 1 or 2 or 3 kinds of like troop infantry dudes.
Yep.
And then you've got like, 1 or 2 sort of like animal things. Like one guys have like, they have like eagles or hawks or like wolves. And then you've got like one sort of like mythical monster mid-sized thing. Yep. And then usually one giant like crazy mythical monster. So
yeah.
And some of them are phenomenal.
Yeah. I've painted the Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, that one's great.
Yep.
I always forget the name, but there's like a giant bat that I think is in the Mayans.
Okay.
I think. But it's this huge bat that's like half coiled down something. So it has one bat wing like wrapped around it, and then the other bat wing is like out.
Okay.
So like the builder in me was like, that's going to be a nightmare. But also that model looks incredible.
Sure. That's cool. That's cool. We've got 2 left. The next one we've got coming up is The Boys.
Boys. Right. These are the Zombicide. So it's kind of weird. Like, so they're doing these as like Zombicide like add-on boxes or like swappable hero boxes,
right?
Which is fine. So like on the left, you've got like the Batman Metal series. So there's like a bunch of different random Batman heroes and villains from like the Batman series. Most of it's from like Frank Miller type stuff, I think. And then there's these 3 boxes of The Boys. So you can get just Homelander, and it's an alternate it's the guy that's on the right, like kind of flying up with his cape around him.
Right.
Camazot, that's the Bat guy I was thinking of. It's the Mayan Bat God. Right. That model is nuts. But so the guy on the right that's the alternate Homelander who's like flying.
Yep.
And it's a super cool sculpt. And then you've got the Boys, and then you've got like the 7. So like the boxes are really neat. The figs look really cool. And then to the right, I don't know if that photo got up here, but to the right, there's the Thundercats, and the Thundercats look incredible.
Right. Yeah. The what we had there was that was a picture of had a great picture of the box cover.
Yeah.
and then blurry picture of the minis.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
That's okay.
They look super cool. Like, I had a couple friends of mine who were like, "Oh man, I really like the minis, but I don't play Zombicide." I was like, "Cool, buy the minis." Like,
yep.
Like I would 100% buy the minis and just run them in Zombicide because I own Zombicide. But they look super cool. Yeah, you can see Mumra on the top right on the box. So I think there's 3 boxes for them also. So like one box is Mumra, one box is the Thundercats, and then the other box, I believe, is like the 3 main bad guys and like I think like 1 or 2 of their henchmen. I forget. But they all look super cool. The boys in particular look great. Whoever painted the Homelander who's flying looks awesome.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of feels surprising, and I guess it's this is the way that perhaps Simon are going to go a little bit, is that it is the boys, and it's the models are of, and like it's the actual characters rather than just it's not Danny Trejo, it's not
right. Okay, so a lot of you guys know Brian Steele. Brian is a rabid Thundercats fan, and he was so mad that they got the license to do Thundercats, or at least use them in this, because he was like, "I wanted to do that," and I was like, "Oh, I know, buddy."
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the 2 packs. So one box is Mumra, and you get giant monster Mumra form, and then you get like decayed Forces of Evil, like little hooded red Mumra. You get both of them in a box, and then the other box comes with Panthro, and then I think it's Tigra and Chitara. Oh no, it says 5. So I think that one comes with Panthro, Chitara, Tigra, and it's what's his name? It's the mentor to Lion-O, Jaga, I think. And then the other box comes with Lion-O, Snarf, and the lizard guy. I can't remember his name.
Right.
But the models are great.
Was it Lizardo?
I don't think it's Lizardo. I think he's something else.
Lizarro.
Maybe. I want to say it's Slive.
Okay.
But the models are great. Mumra in particular, like Mumra in his like transformed size. Look, he's huge. He looks gigantic.
Nice. Cool thing.
But the models are really cool.
And
definitely.
That's Simon doing those?
Yeah. Those are all Simon boxes. Cool. It is not Obi-Wan Katnobi.
If only. And the final image we have is of Dune.
Oh yeah. This looks great. Like, so it's weird because there's a rumor going around that there is going to be a true 28 mil mini war game for Dune, like tabletop, and I am thrilled at that prospect. But like nothing's really been confirmed or kind of talked about. So this is the Dune War for Arrakis game from Simon.
Okay.
So these guys everything here is slightly smaller than 28 mil. Even the actual guys, like on the left and on the right, they're all a little smaller than 28 mil.
Yep. But
so like on the left, you've got like, I think like Duncan Idaho's there, and who else was there? Chani and Stilgar, and then you've got like the 2 worms, and they're pretty cool. There's the one that's coming up, and then the one that looks like a peanut or like a circus peanut he's actually curved around, and he's like coming back like towards you. So it's a really cool looking mini. And then in the middle, you can't really see him because of the boys graphics that are below him, but that's Paul. And then on the right, you've got like Beast Raban, and then the guy in the red cape is obviously Harkonnen, Baron Harkonnen, and then in the back, like the guy being all sexy time, that's Fade Ralpha in the back. And then there's like drones, and there's like stand crawlers and ornithopters, and it's it looks cool. Like again, they didn't really have anything else. It was just like a handful of minis and like the 2 cardboard display boards. So like I have no idea how the game plays. I don't know anything like that. But like being a Dune fan, and I know that like Greg's a Dune. I know there's a bunch of us that are Dune fans. I was like, ooh, Dune stuff. So
yeah, no, it's definitely super cool. The minis down to the bottom left, sort of the Fremen style.
Yep.
Minis look very much like minis that Simon did for Dark Age.
Yeah, they look like I
was just going to skim right over what they were called because I'm drawing a blank right now. I've got a whole army of them.
I can't think of the faction.
Just over there. And, I can't think of the faction name. It's ridiculous. But they look, in that style, anything in that styling is going to look fantastic. But they were done by Big Child Creatives.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And this is probably done by Big Child as well, so fairly easy port across for the designs. But actually, one thing I will say as well. So Dune, the RPG, that Modiphius does.
Shout out to Greg. I thank Greg for all that. Like,
I was going to say another friend of the show, Simon Berman, who's the president of the Brush Wheelers Union.
Okay.
He was one of the writers on that, and they won a gold for writing. So, gold any hat.
I own it. That game is spectacular. It's super well done. Like, to Ryan's point, so Ryan's talking about he'd like to play Dune, but he feels like it suffers from the same thing as Star Wars, which is if you make the name characters, the game is essentially dependent on them. So I can't speak to this because, like I said, I haven't played it. But the RPG is fantastic. Like, it is all about, like, I think it's designed to make, like, you create your own house, which has a huge impact on, like, what your characters do, and then you make characters based on the house that you made. So it's super cool. It seems really, really neat. So,
yeah, I think I'm not concerned, I guess, but I'm not sure that the world does need a 28 mil Dune wargame. Mainly because if you think about what are the battles that occurred or can occur in the world, in the universe, and it's like, okay, it's a whole bunch of guys with knives, and it's really comes down to who's got the most guys. If you want to do that kind of battle,
unless you have Duncan Idaho, and then it doesn't matter how many guys you have because he's going to kill like 30 of them.
Sure, but eventually you're just going to end up with like 10 guys.
Yeah.
But, so what I'm saying is that the tactical level fighting isn't as exciting for me. I think the more drawn back, the strategic elements of Dune, the plotting and the scheming and the planning are where the excitement is. That's my sort of feeling on Dune.
I think you could definitely do it as like a like if you did it almost like a cross between like Risk and like Twilight Imperium. I think you could do a lot more stuff with it. To your point, I think that there's a lot more strategic stuff than tactical stuff with Dune.
Yeah.
So I could see that.
But so as Fabrice says there, it's a very limited IP for wargame wise. And Dune Combat is dumber than 40k. It's true. But however, I would buy the holy heck out of some minis. Yep.
Yeah.
Where is it? There it is.
John, take it easy. I'm glad you enjoyed the review.
How's it going, John? Catch you later.
Nice.
Check that out. So that's my buddy Rich Erickson.
Jessica? Is that Jessica? Is
Yeah.
that supposed to be Jessica?
It is, yeah. It looks just like Rebecca Ferguson, doesn't it?
I thought it was her.
Yep.
I was like, Dave, how did you get Rebecca Ferguson in your basement? More importantly, what does your wife think?
She doesn't know. I shrunk her down and chopped her up into tiny parts.
Nice.
But no.
That's a whole other layer of problem.
So yeah, I'm hoping to get from Christoph Keel a copy of his Sardaukar bust that he's done. I'm not sure exactly if it scales to this one, but then just, do a collection of paint up a collection of Dune busts. But
I mean, all you really need is Gurney Halleck and Duncan Idaho.
Well, you just really need Duncan, Idaho, but there we go. I'll put it there.
Yeah, but who's gonna sing songs while Duncan is killing everybody?
I don't know. I do hope we get to see Josh Brolin sing a song.
Well, I mean, he'll definitely be in the next one. Like he's a cool character too. So, what else is that? It or are we anything else?
That's it as far as images go for the convention wrap up.
Right on. No, it was a lot of fun. There was a ton of good stuff. The only other thing that Simon had in their display case that I took some photos of, but they weren't like super cool. There was they had pictures of the new Cyberpunk game.
Okay.
And that's a weird one, right? Because I love Cyberpunk. Like I love everything about it. But that Kickstarter didn't do that great.
Right.
But,
okay.
But there's a lot of which is surprising because it's a really hot property. But I think a lot of people think that it's going to do better in retail because it didn't do great on Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Like, people think it's one of those games that like I was talking to Jeff Hall, another retailer, about it, and Jeff's like, yeah, he goes, I think because people didn't back it, I think when people get their hands on it in a store and they can flip it over and like look at it, he's like, I think that's a game that people will be like, oh, cool, I'm going to get this.
Right. Because
the minis do look really cool. There's like a bunch of cars, and then there's a bunch of like the different gangs you can run, which look really cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think I'd say, as you say, there's always that thing where you want to see what you're getting.
Yeah, 100%.
Be able to hold the box, flip it over, see the minis, see the painted minis, see things.
No, Fabrice, not the whatever it is, Combat Zone, which is the mini war game. This is the Simon miniature board game.
It's a board game, yeah. Yep. So the I think I did see a picture of it today. I don't know if maybe you sent it through. I'm not sure. I just missed putting it in. But the scale of the vehicles is smaller than the scale of the car. So the vehicles are more like a 20 mil, 15 mil sort of scale. And the minis are more like 25 mil, 28 mil.
Yeah, the minis look a little on the small side. Like if they're 28 mil, they're not 28 mil heroic. They're like 28 mil.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vehicles are like they're not way off, but they're definitely off. Yeah. Like they're
you couldn't fit the dudes inside the vehicle.
No, maybe one guy could squash in there.
If you puree him and pour him in through the sunroof.
Yeah. If you sliced him extra fine, probably just slip him in through the sunroof.
Exactly. Exactly. Just quickly, I'm going to say, Ryan says, if they base it on the Jihad, there is a lot of potential. If they expand to the Suns books, there is a lot of potential. Okay, I'll take your word for it there, Ryan. I think I've only read the first two books. That was a long time ago.
I have the first three.
Yep.
But I've only read the first one. And now that we're again packing for the crossing, they're somewhere. But once we move, I'm going to finish the trilogy.
Excellent.
But yeah, I mean it's good. I love that movie. That movie's spectacular, by the way.
Cool. So moving along. We're at 8:30 now, so we've been running for an hour and a half.
So we can go over more stuff next week. You got anything else you want us to go over?
Well, I think Scott might put in a few requests for some information on legal battles.
100%. I'm happy to do that.
But we'll see how that goes. Super cool. Next week, I think we're going to, if we can correct our video issue, we'll try and get Dan Ozborne on the show.
Sure.
As our first ever guest. If you head to... Oh, I should have had this ready, but I didn't. I'll find it now. If you head to Instagram and check out D period Ozborne. So OZ Borne. So Dan
Who's
Osborne.
this?
Pardon?
Dan Osborne.
Dan Osborne.
Dan Osborne.
And check out his stuff. Dan's does fantastic work with, particularly recently, he's done a lot of great work on Knights, Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights, and Titans.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And the reason we're having him on is he has done the Warlord Titan for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation summer raffles, which begin next Monday. So we'll have him on Tuesday. We can talk about the Warlord that he built and painted. We'll have a look at some of his other stuff. If people have painted their own Knights or Titans, we're going to put up pictures in the Facebook group, so we can get a collection of those, so we can have Dan critique them.
Ooh, all right.
But I think that's what we'll be focusing on next week.
Okay.
Have you got any hobby planned for the next 7 days, or are you packing for the crossing?
I'm packing for the crossing. I'm gonna try to do a little bit this week. I might just build some stuff on Thursday. I have 2 big commissions, but I'm not. I already told those guys I'm not even gonna touch them until September. Like, I don't want to risk bringing stuff home, starting it, packing it up, forgetting which box it's in, having it get broken, unpack it again. I was like, once the move is done, I will do it. But I was like, for now, I'm not doing anything else. So Scott wants to know why there's no G.I. Joe or Transformers minigame. Legality. We can cover that on Dinner for Two when I talk about the legal battles surrounding Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Fantastic. And yes, Scott, Dan Osborne is the dude who uses the liquid mask stuff. So you can be ready to ask him questions about it. But sure. I'm going to be playing 2 games of Horus Heresy this coming Saturday.
Look at you!
So I'm super excited about it. I'm playing
one for me, one for you.
Yep, one for each of us. But I'm playing against Ryan, who's in the chat. And
okay.
Yes. And Ryan, which yes, which army are you playing again? I can't remember. And I'm playing against Tim, that I mentioned earlier, who showed me the peacock blue Krylon spray paint, which is just such a fantastic color. It's gorgeous. But
yeah, it is a really nice color.
I've been assembling some more models to put into my army. Imperial Fists, fantastic.
Oh man, I don't want to root for either one of you. I guess I'll root for Imperial Fists.
No, Word Bearers.
No, Word Bearers need to lose every time.
No.
They're the worst.
We're representing the truth. Bringing you the truth. And I had my first Word Bearer Apothecary there as well. At a spare 50 points. So it was either... I thought, should I go with Flare Shield on the Spartan? No, I'll go with an Apothecary. Give my big blob of 20 Marines. Yes, Tim, yes, thanks. It's your fault we'll be seeing that peacock blue more than gold trim. Yes, it is indeed.
You're doing Ryan says he's doing the Assault Cadre, so you're going to run, what's his name? Everybody's favorite Space Wolf. Fafnir Rand.
Fafnir Rand, yep.
Dude, he is such a great model. He literally looks like a Space Wolf that they made him, like, cut his hair and they combed it.
Well, they took the helmet off him.
Yeah, but like, they'll like, you gotta comb that over.
Yeah. Oh dear. So that guy has 2 wicked axes, doesn't he?
Yeah, dude, his rules are sick. You can either run him... when you go into combat, you can choose if he wants to fight with 1 axe or 2. If he fights with 2, he gets an extra attack, but it drops their strength. And if you fight him with the 1 axe, he gets an extra point of strength, and he gets the invul save because of the shield, the breacher shield.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, he's super cool. He's pretty dirty.
Great, just what I need.
Well, I mean, you know how you solve guys like that? You throw your Gal Miraz at him.
Yep. Go. Gal Miraz, the hammer. You mean Marigal? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, so right. We should wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, take it easy. Nice. Tim apparently really likes us. Thanks, Tim. I am glad that we've earned another viewer.
Excellent.
Don't forget to tell everybody about us. So hopefully this will continue to grow, and Dave and I will feel validated for doing this. But until we see you guys next week, we believe in you guys. Keep painting your mans, and we will see you guys next week. And
don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the bell for the notifications, all that fun stuff. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Shut up and sit down.